Whatever your opinion is on Watch Dogs Legion, we can hopefully all agree that it is the worst of the franchise. Its poor story and repetitive gameplay is what led to its mixed reviews. But today we will not be talking about the story, gameplay, or the annoying British man that is in my ear.
They don't have access to a heavy cargo drone. Occupation? Check. Drone? Check. This could be the one.
We will be stalking people watching in Watch Dogs Legion to see what the good people of London are up to. Thank you to Life Can Be Stressful for the suggestion in the last video on Watch Dogs 2. Watch Dogs Legion seems to have a much more in-depth characterization of each NPC. They even tell you their schedule and where they go, which I think is a nice detail that is not in the other games. I will also be playing as Wrench, because he's the best character in the game. The first person that I followed was an unemployed protester, which I thought was pretty ironic. To Watch Dogs 3's credit, it does do a good job at making London feel lived in, but everything else is worse. Someone started randomly shooting, and being the very American person that I am, I had to check it out. But it was just a police officer gunning down a fleeing civilian. I see it all the time. Oh, and of course I lost the protester. I then witnessed an American classic.
You want me to bring the hammer down?
I wanted to test if the information given was actually true, and apparently, Isla was mourning until 4 p.m, and sure enough, at 16 o'clock, she left to go back home. This is something that I wish they put in Watch Dogs 2, as it makes the game more realistic, but it's not completely necessary. I also find it funny that they bothered to code in schedules for the NPCs and not a better story, or gameplay, or hacking. I then saw an ossifer staring at a wall, so I had to go over to help. For victim number 3, I followed somebody heading to a party. However, I got somewhat distracted by something. You see, I'm somewhat of a gun nut, and the enticing display pulled me in, like a drug addict seeing oregano. But I got back to my stalking, and followed them all the way to the metro. And then I found something that really pissed me off. NPCs can use the metro, but not players. Because when I tried to follow her down there, I couldn't. Why can NPCs go places that I can't? So I saw the first unsuspecting person and I beat them up, like any normal person would.
I love a hands-on approach. Cool, an activist. And they're a real one. They don't just call themselves that on social media.
For victim number 4, I would not get distracted. I found somebody going to an art exhibition. I then immediately got distracted trying to get in this door. After failing, I followed him, and I would follow him until he got the art exhibition. Until he got to the art exhibition. I would not stop. Guys, you wouldn't believe this. I just had to fight this person, okay? You don't understand. After escaping the cops, I thought for sure that I lost him, but luckily, he didn't despawn. And then for some reason, we stood and watched this person getting beaten up. I think Ricardo must have thought this was part of the museum, but I don't think it was. He wasn't moving, so I had to take matters into my own hands.
Suspect reported in your area, potentially armed and hostile.
Over. Received. We'll engage if necessary.
All right then, let's go.
We have a civilian who needs medical attention.
Rolling balls! Balls.
I think that all the excitement made Ricardo a little frightened because he didn't move. And I thought the car was in his way, so I tried to move it. Unfortunately, it looked like Ricardo didn't learn to look both ways before crossing the street. An easy mistake to make. One thing that I've learned from this is that almost everyone I stalk ends up dying. So I guess if you see me watching you from a distance, maybe get to someplace safe. For the last one, I decided to follow a police officer to see what they get up to, besides beating up civilians, of course. But after following him for about 10 minutes, they just stood in the street. And he found out what happens when you stand in the street.
Initiate search.
Initiate lockdown. Shut it down.
Another officer had a accident. And the game said that he was heading to a hospital, so I assumed an ambulance was coming to pick him up. And I waited forever, and I saw multiple ones drive by, but he never got picked up. So he just stayed there looking like a starfish in the middle of the street. I hope you learned a valuable lesson from all of this. I don't know what that lesson can be, but I hope you learned it. Thank you for watching.